નથી ને કે બહુ બધા જુદા જુદા વેદાંતના ગ્રુપના લોકો છે એમાં. વેદાંત અને આઈ થિંક થોડા સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ પણ છે, એટલે they are just spiritually inclined but they are not Vedantic. તો એ ગ્રુપમાં should I continue joining or should I not join?
But if you get something out of it, well and good. If you are getting confused,
no, I am not getting confused. I know my own understanding. The only thing is I may not be able to clearly explain it to them, but I know what I know right now, and I'm very clear about that. But is it am I wasting my time by joining with them?
You could be. If you are not getting much out of it, so since you are clear about your own understanding, you may be able to segregate what is to be taken, what is to be given, etc. But if overall you don't seem to get much out of it, or if you can contribute to them, that also is okay. Even if you do not learn it.
Yes, that was the idea. એ લોકોમાંથી 3 જણા એક ચિન્મય મિશન માંથી છે જે ટીમ લીડર છે ભાઈ, અને એક બીજા એક ભાઈ છે એ I think એ પણ ચિન્મય મિશન ના જ છે, અને they invited me in the group and they said that we want to make sure that this is a temple group. અહીંયા ડેટરના ટેમ્પલનું છે. They created a kind of education committee. We want to reach out to people and tell them that what really Vedanta teaches. And એમાં પછી આ બીજા બધા આવે છે. So for me it is the right thing.
If you are able to contribute something,
then it's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay. હવે તો આપણે ઘણું જાણીએ છીએ એટલે દર વખતે જાણવાની તો કદાચ એવી જરૂરિયાત પણ ન હોય કે પણ
I mean, જરૂરિયાત કરતા એટલીસ્ટ એવી ક્લેરિટી છે કે હું જે સમજુ છું હું બરાબર સમજી છું.
એ જ કહું છું ને. એટલે but if you are able to contribute to that group, then it's fine. You can provide them some understanding, clarity. It's quite all right.
So a month ago there was they invited me for one of the high school to give the talk on Hinduism. And I wanted to take Swamiji's permission at that time, but it just happened, and I just took the grace and then gave the talk. But I told Karthik about it. I mainly just did the values and talked, because it was a high school kids. 11 12 na chokra tha. So I just talked about values to them. That was easy to talk because there was clean slate in front of me. I spoke about values and why I want to exist. So it was simple to explain what I meant. But joining this group, one thing is for sure that when I verbalize it, my own thought become more clear. So એટલે મને થયું કે is it a right path?
It's called mananam. You get an opportunity to dwell upon what you know and express it. Then you need to be clear, so that way the mind goes through a certain process. And so it's certainly helpful, no doubt. As I said, if you are able to contribute something, it's certainly worthwhile. But we may not learn everywhere, then we can contribute something. So that's good. મારી પરમિશન લેવાની જરૂર નથી હોતી. It's
no, for my own sake. It's not about permission, it's about my own confidence boosting.
સ્વામીજી, બીજો પ્રશ્ન ગઈકાલનો જે ટોપિક હતો ને આગ્રહ વિશે જલપાએ પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યો, તેમાં રાત પાડી કરું છું તારે, એટલે થોડું કદાચ વર્બલી તો I contemplated on આગ્રહ expectation ઉપર. તો when I meditated on it, the way I thought was કે બે વસ્તુ હોય. એક તો facts હોય. When you are communicating with other person, whether family members or in the workplace, and there are facts, it's very easy to give the information to the opposite person and the clarity is very clear. But when you say mara pramane karo, mara idea pramane karo, that's when the clash starts. But people don't want to recognize you. By hypothetical example is I say, Vama, go there or go this place or that place. That will be not interacted well with her. She wants to go a Y place instead of X place. She wants to do Y thing instead of X thing. And I suggest that Mama do this, and that's where there is a gray area, or where મારે એમનું વર્તન બદલવું હોય કે મને મારે એમની વિચારસરણી બદલવી હોય, ત્યાં આગળ ક્લેશ આવે. ના પણ એમાં આગ્રહમાં સ્ટ્રેસ આવે આપણને, વિચારસરણી બદલી થાય. જ્યારે એ વિચારસરણીમાં ના બદલે, જ્યારે ફેક્ટ્સ જ ઉગ્યા કે ભાઈ લોઝ ઓફ ગ્રેવિટી કે લોઝ ઓફ ન્યૂટન, તો પછી એમાં કોઈ છે જ નહીં. 1+1=2. અને વર્કમાં બી 1+1=2 હોય તો સામેવાળી વ્યક્તિ કે ફેમિલી મેમ્બર બી કહી શકે, યાર ધીસ ઇઝ હાઉ ધ ટ્રીટમેન્ટ શુડ બી એન્ડ શુડ ગો ફોરવર્ડ, નો પ્રોબ્લેમ. ઇટ્સ કે મારા પ્રમાણે કરવાનું તમે પ્રેશરાઇઝ કરો, that's when the agra part comes in. That's how I meditated upon yesterday. Yeah. And that's when I realized.
So now you have enough experience.
Yes.
As to where we can push and where we cannot push.
Exactly.
So you know, here there is whether the person is willing to listen to us. અગત્યની મેં આગળ કહેલું છે. શું કહેતા પહેલા we should get qualification of saying that. ટૂંકમાં I should have that place where the other person is willing to listen to me.
Right.
If you have not acquired that respect from them, it is better to આપણા પછી શબ્દોની કિંમત રહેતી નથી.
બરાબર છે.
આપણે પોતે એ પ્રકારનો એક આદર પ્રાપ્ત કર્યો હોય, એટલે આ શબ્દોનો આદર થતો હોય તો એ કહેવાનો અર્થ છે. ન થવાનું હોય એવું લાગે આપણે તો ભાઈ કહેવું જ નહીં. અને બીજું આપણી વિચારસરણી પણ બદલે તો દુનિયા છોડી જ દેવાનું. અને પર્ટિક્યુલરલી ગ્રોન અપ પીપલ એન્ડ દેટ અમેરિકન પીપલ, એવું તો શક્ય જ નથી. એન્ડ દે વિલ નોટ એક્સેપ્ટ ઇટ ઇન પ્રિન્સિપલ.
Clearly.
We can say what I think and what I think is right. That's all you can say. And leave it to them whether they think it's right or wrong, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
That is it's સારું. This is what I think should be done. This is what I would do if I were you. બહુ વધારે એવું કહીએ આપણે.
બરાબર. એમાં શરણાગતિની ચોપડી ગઈકાલ રાત્રે ટાઈમ મળે તો વાંચી હતી, તો it was really eye opening and understanding વધારે ક્લેરિટી થવા મળી. મલ્ટિપલ વાર વાંચી છે, પણ દરેક વખતે વાંચી ત્યારે કંઈક નવું અંદરથી નીકળે છે.
બરાબર, સાચી વાત છે.
Yeah, so it really helped to that આગ્રહ વિશેની હેલ્પ બહુ થઈ પડી, કનેક્શન મળ્યું એમાં. આગ્રહ કરો એટલે શરણાગતિ ના હોય તો પછી બધા જ પ્રોસેસ મણકા ચાલુ થઈ જાય, કારણ કે એની મૂળ સાધન છે. સાધ્ય માટે મુક્તિ સાધ્ય છે, પણ સાધન શરણાગતિ છે. એટલે that should be the part, and when you have that process going, ત્યારે તમને આવો આગ્રહ કરવાનું બધું ઓછું થવા માંડે.
બરાબર. કારણ કે પહેલાં તો આપણે આપણા મનમાં વિચાર હું આગ્રહ કેમ કરું છું, શા માટે આ વ્યક્તિને મારી ઈચ્છા પ્રમાણે વર્તવાનું કહું છું, એમાં મારો એજન્ડા છે કે વ્યક્તિનો એજન્ડા છે. એવું નથી ભાઈ યુ આર અ પેરેન્ટ. There are situations when a parent out of concern for the child does say things, પણ એટલે આપણે એ આગ્રહ રાખતા હોય તો મને વિચારવાનું કે આગ્રહ મારા માટે રાખું છું કે એને માટે રાખું છું, એના ભલા માટે છે કે પછી મારા asserting myself. આગ્રહ can be to assert myself, or it can be because I genuinely feel that will be good for them.
બરાબર.
તો એ આગ્રહ તો આવશ્યક નથી, પણ we can certainly express our views કે ભાઈ this is what I think we should do. પણ એથી આગળ હવે આ કોઈને કશું કહેવાનું શક્ય જ નથી, કહો તો એનો અર્થ નથી. But they will be no one wants their own space.
Yes.
And nobody wants to be told, generally speaking.
Nobody.
They think that they know what things are, so they don't expect, they don't want. એટલે હવે તો આ છોકરાઓ પેરેન્ટ્સ પાસે એવી અપેક્ષા રાખતા નથી. નાના ત્યારે કઈ સ્વીકારતા છે કદાચ, મોટા થયા પછી એવું નથી સ્વીકારતા. અને આપણે એવો આગ્રહ નથી, હું પેરેન્ટ છું એ બધું હવે એવો વેમ આપણે રાખતા નથી હવે.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, yes.
This is Tanuja Bamra here. I think I informed you earlier that I had started a Shruti's Bhajan Sandhya, and it has grown. The WhatsApp group has grown up to 100 members right now.
Wow.
And within a month, and it's in Indianapolis, and I can probably make it grow a lot more. But I'm a little nervous and afraid, and I was wondering what your opinion would be on that, because I'm not accustomed to being in a role where people come up to me and say, "Oh, you started this, it's great," or whatever. But now that's happening too often, and if it grows even more, then I, being the organizer, I'm getting a little bit of attention, and I'm not very good at that.
Right.
So I was wondering whether we should grow or just let it be and slow down.
Let it be, let it go on for a while, see how comfortable you feel. And then if you feel that you are comfortable with this group, this number, then you can try a little more, little more. There's no need that group has to be large. 100 is a large group, so what is happening? I mean, who sings bhajans? Do you sing bhajans?
The members who come to attend the satsang, they sing the bhajans. Some are very good, some are amateurs. I try to accommodate.
Is it in person or is
it's
it?
in person. In person.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
In person.
And rest of them.
So we rotate between different houses to meet.
So yeah, this group sings and the rest of them listen online.
No, everybody comes and whoever wants to sing can sing.
Okay.
About 40 to 50 people came this last Saturday, and whoever wishes to sing can sing.
They came in person?
They came in person, yes.
Wow, that's great. All right, very good.
Yes. Yes, Swamiji. And the second question I had is, I wrote it and sent earlier as well.
Right.
It was about the vasanas being subtle body, and how is it that it is neither Brahman nor is it Maya is the question for me.
Yeah, this is Maya illusion. You say Brahman is one. We are Brahman. The Jagat is Maya and illusion. Then how come the Jiva, who is really the one Brahman, is a unique subtle body and vasana is different from each? Because there is ignorance. Even though I am Brahman, I do not know that fact, and I take myself to be a limited being. So this thinking of myself being limited creates the same habit. Therefore, in every interaction, I look upon myself limited being. So that's called vasana. When habitually you think about yourself, about the world, about things based on your earlier conclusions. So vasana means a habit of thinking, habit of concluding. That's called vasana.
Is that a category of the Maya, or is that a category of the Brahman?
Get this word Maya.
Or doesn't matter?
Where is Maya? Forget about Maya. Don't get further confused. So, you are a Jiva, you basically are Brahman, because ignorance you think you are a limited being. So therefore this habit of taking myself as a limited being, that creates a tendency of always taking myself, that's called vasana. So I habitually look upon myself limited being. Therefore habitually I am a needy person. Therefore there are desires to fulfill needs. So I look upon the world as a source of fulfilling my desires. All this is built in. These built-in habits are called vasanas. So don't get confused by these words Maya and vasana and whatever it is. Just understand things. And so, how does Brahman allow us to have qualities, etc.? But So you are Brahman, all right, because of ignorance, you think yourself as a limited individual. So therefore that is a habit of taking my limited individual body as myself, mind as myself. Why so ignorant? Brahman doesn't do that, ignorance does that. You understand? Ignorance creates this habit of taking this body to be myself, and therefore taking myself as a limited being. Brahman doesn't do anything, ignorance does all this.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any other question?
I have a question, Swamiji. This was not pertaining to what we. This is from the class, but this is not about the point about proving Atma or that Chidabhasa exists. But this came about because when the Tarkika says that there is no consciousness in deep sleep and consciousness as utpatti when it comes into contact with mind, so when how do you wake up? Like how does one wake up?
That's
Is the
what
mind?
they say. That's what they say.
That's what they say. I'm trying to understand their standpoint. Like, how do they justify? How does waking up take place from their standpoint?
The mind wakes up. Mind comes into being.
So mind is the conscious entity for them.
No, mind when comes in contact with Atma, then consciousness is created.
Right.
When mind is not in deep sleep, there is no consciousness. When mind wakes up, comes in contact with Atma, consciousness is created. This is their view. There is no consciousness in deep sleep state. There is consciousness when you wake up, which means that consciousness is created as a horizon.
So the confusion is, how does the mind wake up on its own? It has to be a conscious entity for it to wake up by itself.
It wakes up because of vasanas, because of karma.
But what enlivens the vasana? Like, there has to be a living.
The karma actually. So when the karma for the waking state become active, become awake. When karma for dream become active, start dreaming. When karma for deep sleep become active, start sleeping. And that's how the cycle goes on as a result of karma.
Right. Okay, the confusion was because, consciousness is the life principle. But if they don't believe that consciousness is present in all three states, and they say the mind wakes.
They think that consciousness is created. Atma becomes conscious when Atma by itself is not conscious. When mind comes, then consciousness is created, then Atma becomes conscious. Again in deep sleep, when the mind goes away, the Atma is no more conscious.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, but who is this they that you're referring to?
The Vaisheshikas.
There are all these. There are thinkers called Vaisheshikas and Nayayikas. Is a Purva Paksha, understand? This kind of positions are taken up for discussion to get clarity about our own thinking. So we have certain understanding. We contrast or challenge this understanding based on the views, understanding of other people. And then see whether their understanding or ours is right. So then we find a fault in their understanding. Realize that their understanding is not right. So that is how our understanding is pitted. In order to gain a firmness in our understanding, become free from doubts, we pit our understanding with that of others and see whether their understanding makes sense. Does it make sense? Then that's how our understanding becomes more firm. Therefore, it is traditional to take into account the understanding of other thinkers and see where they are committing mistake. That's how we understand that our understanding is right. So for having a firm view that my understanding is right, it is necessary that I should find other understandings wrong. For that I should know what has brought that understanding in them, and where is the fault in the thinking process which brought the understanding. That's how we understand, where we recognize that faulty thinking. Therefore understanding is wrong. That's our own understanding becomes, validated.
And here the fault is that they don't have the concept of the witness to prove. Is that correct?
That is, they don't know that. This is what we say.
Right. That is how we find fault.
Yeah, if consciousness is created, then there is a time when there is no consciousness, there is no witness, then wow, you can't establish what is without the witness.
I somehow find very difficult to understand the opposite views opinion, because I get confused with there are so many variables and how did they come to that conclusion. So when we challenge them, I understand our side, but I don't understand their side that clearly.
Right. In this discussion, we take for granted some understanding on the part of listeners.
Okay.
And therefore, we do mention briefly what their understanding is and how they arrived. We may not go into every detail, because you cannot keep on spending a lot of time.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it will be refuted anyway.
Exactly. Okay.
Anybody else? There are quite a few people here. There is R, there is N, there is T. Huh?
Yeah, my name is Rekha and I have a question. One of the
Everybody should keep their video open so Swamiji can see who Swamiji is talking to.
Unfortunately, I have a situation where I cannot be on video. I apologize for that.
No problem.
So,
all right.
So, my question is, as a student of Gita and hearing a lot about Advaita Vedanta, we are led to believe that Bhagwan and us are the same. However, I struggle to rationalize the concept of how we worship Paramatma. We worship Paramatma, we worship Ishvara. So, a little doubt I have on your view on how does the idea of Paramatma stack up with, us being the same as Brahman.
So that is a goal that we are seeking. Right now, we by default take Ishvara to be different from us and take ourselves different from Ishvara, because by default we identify with this body. Therefore, my understanding of myself is I am confined to this body. That's called a jiva.
Right.
That is why the difference comes between Ishvara, who is total, I, who is limited entity. So, even though ultimately I discover the oneness between Ishvara and myself, right now that is a goal. That is only an intellectual understanding. To make it a reality, the worship comes. So worship is based. The worship is based on non-duality, in duality. So I worship in duality is such that slowly I overcome the duality.
I see. So I continue worshipping Paramatma and Ishvara with the goal that one day I will realize that I am one with him.
Right, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are encouraged to continue worshipping Paramatma, right?
Very much. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
Yes.
Swami, talking of worship, you give importance to prayers a lot. I noticed that. But I was wondering, when you stand in front of God and fold your hands and say a prayer, I don't know what to say other than just say a shloka. So I'm confused when you ask me to pray. I don't know what to say.
Well, do you know what you want?
Yes.
What do you want?
I'd rather not say it here.
All right. No, you can simply say that I want to be happy. I want my mind to be pure. I want to become free from these impulses, of raga dveshas. Everybody wants that or should want that. So we don't have to declare other things, the worldly things, but this is a basic need of everybody, that we want to be happy. Happiness can be when our mind is free from raga dveshas. So God, please make me free from raga dveshas. Please make me free from the impulses which are torturing me. I am tortured by my own raga dveshas, my own anger, my own worries and anxieties. Please make me free from them.
Thank you, Swamiji. That makes sense.
Is it okay to pray kind of narrowly, like, say someone is undergoing lot of health challenges? It's okay to pray to God to help us heal?
Quite all right. Yes. A specific prayer. There can be general prayer, a specific prayer, It is quite all right.
So it is not selfish to ask for healing.
Even be selfish, so what? We can be selfish before Ishvara.
Okay.
Yes, nothing wrong in it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hariam Swamiji, my name is Raji. Sorry, I'm not able to be on video.
Okay.
I'm Raji Sriram. I'm from Boston. I'm a teacher with the AVBG Kids Group.
Okay, very good. Very good.
I had a question, Swamiji, because I've been lately reading some books on Upanishads, and I came through this sentence where it says, "Be very thoughtful of your mindfulness." And on the other hand, I was kind of reversing that sentence, like, be mindful of your thoughtfulness. And I feel like both apply in a certain way. Can you tell me something about this, Swamiji?
So the first sentence is, be thoughtful about your mindfulness.
Yes.
And second sentence is, be mindful about your thought.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it says be thoughtful about your mindfulness, means that may you remember that you must be mindful. That your mind, as best as possible, doesn't get distracted and it's focused upon what is at hand. So only when you are mindful, that is when you are quite aware of the thoughts. And then you know what it is that is to be done. What you are thinking, what you want to think, what you have to do. All that requires mindfulness. But because mind has a habit of being distracted, so we have to remind the mind, hey, be mindful. When mind is mindful, that is when we are aware of the thoughts and then we are aware of what is to be done.
So, is it right to say, Swamiji, be thoughtful of your mindfulness?
Be mindful, that is what it is.
Okay.
Be mindful. And so we have to remind the mind to be mindful. Or remind ourselves to be mindful, let us say. To prevent it from being distracted. So, being distracted is generally habit of the mind. Because mind sometimes does not see the meaning in being focused, does not enjoy being focused, and so it wants to go where it gets some kind of pleasure, or as habitually it goes away. So we have to give an auto-suggestion to the mind. An auto-suggestion. Mind, be mindful. The purpose of auto-suggestion is that hopefully mind will remember when it gets distracted, oh, I am supposed to be mindful. So every time it gets distracted, bring it back and remind, mind, be mindful.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think that's the overall purpose of the meditation also, right? I mean, I've been listening to some meditative talks too. So that's what they say.
Right.
Pranam Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So Swamiji if anybody else wants to talk, ask a question, please go ahead, because there was silence. I took up upon myself to ask this question.
All right.
In meditation or anything, there are two things that keep coming up. Either be a witness to your thinking or your thoughts, or just sit back and just be a witness, or try to focus and be suppressing, not nearly suppressing as much as be focused on your thinking and try not to have other thoughts come in your mind. So are both effective, are both valid, or is it that one is a more effective and more valid process than the other?
Well, in meditation, you give your mind something to think about, something to meditate upon, something that the mind would like to think about. So give some object, some purpose to the mind to think. That's why they think of, they talk about Ishvara, talk about the Devata, Ishta Devata, etc. Suppose you like Lord Krishna or a deity, then let your mind think about something that it likes to think. In meditation, if you give the mind something that it likes to think about, that becomes becomes somewhat easier. If you just give some random subject to the mind which doesn't care for, is not interested in, then it doesn't get focused, then is not interested. Meaning that the object of meditation should, as best as possible, be interesting to the mind. You follow? Therefore, you should look for an interesting topic or interesting subject. That's why it's an interesting form of God or something like that. So whatever it is that the mind is interested in, which can something that elevates the mind also, not just anything. Though if you think of some worldly thing, it does not elevate the mind. So you think of Ishvara in one form or the other, and something that the mind is interested, so that will help the mind to think about that and help the mind to elevate also.
In that way, does listening to something, say like Vishnu Sahasranamam, count as meditation?
It can. So if it helps you listen and listen with some interest, or doesn't matter, you listen, focus your mind to listening. Somewhat easier than our thinking. So that also is a good way of training the mind to focus.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry if I interrupted.
No, it's okay. Swamiji, then what is this about witnessing the thoughts? They say, like Nisargadatta Maharaj focuses so much on witnessing the thoughts.
Depends. Different kinds of meditations are there. So witnessing the thoughts is also one kind of meditation, so that you remain a witness without getting attached to or involved in the thoughts, become objective or indifferent to the thoughts. So that way you can practice being indifferent, practice being a witness. That also is a good meditation. But better meditation is that you think of something that elevates you. You understand what I am saying?
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you.
Meditation means mental upasana. Mental upasana means mental worship.
Swamiji, I normally enjoy my company a lot when I'm thinking about some good quote from great people, from any quote that catches my eye. I think about how I can interpret it properly and then bring it to my life in practice with people. And normally I want to be by myself, but when I go and meet people, I practice what all I learned, like kindness, compassion, or accepting them as they are. And I also derive much happiness with the people, but everything is so fleeting with the outside world. Everything I say, everything I talk, what they react, or how they respond, or how I respond, just goes away in no time. And just spending time with myself, is it good, or do I need to practice the sadhana with the people, so that I understand what spiritual life is really in the world, in the worldly affairs? Or is it okay to be with by myself, because I enjoy my company also? It is by choice that I move with people.
It's quite all right to be by yourself, but at the same time keep company of good books. So you keep on getting new inspirations, and so that is necessary that we learn new things, we elevate our thinking. So that also should go on, not just by being yourself and simply letting the mind, thinking about wandering. So read something, listen to something that is elevating, something inspiring, where you can
Yeah.
learn.
And is it necessary to practice what I have understood, what I realize with people, or is it okay with realization?
You mean with people means while interacting with people?
Yeah. Is it necessary to interact with people to see our realization coming into fruitful way, really taking a what do you call, like you see it in action with people, that whatever realizations, with the great teachings, with the great understanding that I have realized, like ego, like having no ego, brings the atmosphere into a very humble state, and it is very cordial, it is very friendly between people. So is it necessary to practice with the outside world all that we learned, or can we just realize and whenever we interact we bring it up? Or what I mean to say is, do I need to go and then practice in the world to see that I have realized, or can I go at my will and then just realize it at my will?
See, you will have to interact with the world to some extent anyway. So whenever you don't have to necessarily search for interacting, but when the necessity comes and you have to interact with the people, that's when you can test your understanding and say,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, Swamiji.
all right. I guess we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Swamiji. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Really nice. Yeah, if it becomes interesting, then it's nice. Yeah.